Hi everyone, and welcome to today's session. This is going to be an athletic development session. It's going to have 3 units. It's going to have a stability mobility unit that's going to act as our warm-up. It's going to have a strength and power unit, and we're going to finish off with a cool down. So to kickstart the stability mobility unit, we're going to do the same as we always do. We're going to start off with breathing control. So I'm going to get you down onto your back, Keelan. Knees bent, feet flat, and you know the drill here. In through the nose, breathing down into the tummy, and out through the mouth. All of these exercises that we're repeating, you might lose concentration on it. You might feel like they've become a little bit tedious, but they are very powerful exercises. So make sure you concentrate on these exercises. So just taking about 30 to 45 seconds here to start, just to get that breathing right and to activate through that diaphragm muscle as well. So getting it to stretch as you push that breath down into the lungs. So 5 repetitions here. And moving on to the core bracing exercise. Good. Okay, tension through the core. Again, you know the drill here. Tension, hold that tension for 10 seconds. Squeezing through the core muscles and relaxing. Good. Take a few seconds and again, drawing that tension through the core. Imagine a weight down on top of your tummy here. Keep that tension for 10 seconds. And then you're relaxing. Good. Okay, so breathing control, right? We've got our core, deep lying core muscles woken up. We can now introduce a little bit of movement. So Keelan, I'm going to get you onto your front. We're going to combine 2 exercises here that we will have performed. So Keelan, you can just shift back on the mat a little bit so that your head's on the mat. Yeah, perfect. We're going to combine 2 exercises here that you will have performed in previous blocks. We're going to combine the ITYW exercise or IYTW exercise and the back extension exercise. So if you are finding this a little bit difficult, you can break it down and perform each exercise separately. So what we're going to do here is start off with the I movement, and we're going to do that with a back extension. So Keelan, you can lift up, arms and legs lifting off the ground and back down again. So resting down completely. So you'll see that Keelan's knees bent as he came off the ground. So next time around, Keelan, I'm going to get you to try keep the legs straight. Good, much better. So a nice strong extension there. Coming to T. Good, and fully down and rest your head down as well in between. And lift through W. Good. So quite a tricky movement to control. Take your time with it and just remind yourself of that extension, that I extension, pulling through the shoulders, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Y. T, again, open up through the chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together and bending your elbows for W. Good. And with that, you're performing that leg movement. Good. Okay, we're going to go once more on that. So you can perform this about 3 to 5 times. Just take your time with it again, Keelan. Try to get that full leg lift off the ground. Good. And again, if you're finding it a little bit tricky and you're not feeling like you're not controlling the movement, take out the leg movement. Just perform the IYTW. And then introduce that leg movement when you're ready. So just watch that leg movement, that you're not bending from the knees and lifting up, that you're trying to get the legs up off the ground. So 3 to 5 repetitions there. And then we're going to take it to the lunge to T stance. Now this is an exercise that you will have been familiar with from the strength and power units, but we're now taking it into the stability mobility unit to warm up with. So Keelan, I'm going to get you to demonstrate that. Let's come off the mat here for this one. And you can do this with a forward lunge or a reverse lunge. With the forward lunge, you might have to shift position and reset. With the reverse lunge, you end up staying in position. Good. And come to a standing position. Good. Okay, so stepping back. Sorry, Keelan, I'm going to get you to stay on the same leg. Yeah, so stay on the same leg if you can. If you want to alternate it, that's fine. You're going to hinge forward. Try look for that nice T position. Try bring the leg behind up nice and high and come to the standing position. If you lose control of this movement, don't worry about it. We are still warming up here. You're still waking up those stabilizing muscles. So take your time with it. Each rep should get a little bit better and come to a standing position. Okay, so let's slow this down a little bit, Keelan. Step back and give yourself a good step back that you get that nice 90-degree angle from both legs. So Keelan, I'm going to get you just to come back a little bit further as you step back. So just with that step back leg, reach back a little bit longer. Good. And now hinging forward, reach, and come to a standing position. Good. Okay, and one more rep. Again, you're doing about 3 to 5 repetitions here, each time looking for better movement. So let's really challenge down this last one. Reach forward, chest down towards the ground, back leg high. Good, good. Okay, so you can see there the balance being challenged. So a little bit trickier when you're starting off with an exercise like this. Okay, let's switch legs. Again, about 3 to 5 repetitions here, just waking up those stabilizers. And you're looking for quality of movement here. Okay, so immediately now we can see Keelan is much stronger on that right leg. Good, but we still want to watch out for compensation. So nice long lunge back. So let's see that, Keelan. Good, hinge forward, pause in that T stance position. Watch that stabilizing knee. Good. Okay, so you've got quite a bit of a bend there in that knee. Let's try to straighten out that leg a little bit more. You don't want a locked out leg. Hinging forward. Good. A little bit more of a bend. Yeah, there. Good. Okay, so keeping that knee soft, but trying not to bend too much down into it as you hinge forward, and also not locking out through that. Yeah, good. Okay, so challenging one there. So 3 to 5 repetitions on the lunge to T stance. Again, this is combining 2 exercises. If you find that a little bit difficult, separate it out. You can perform the lunge exercise and you can perform the T stance exercise separately if you wish. Okay, we're going to take it on to the inchworm exercise. Again, this is an exercise you will have performed before. We had the progression of the toe touch. Now we're going to progress it on further and keep you stabilizing on one arm for a little bit longer. So with that toe touch, you were stabilizing on one arm and reaching to the foot with the other arm and then coming forward and alternating that. Now what we're going to do is take the arm across the chest and you're going to press back in that inchworm position, trying to stabilize on one arm. So again, quite an advanced one here. Take it back to that toe touch exercise if you find this a little bit difficult. So let's come to the edge of the mat, Keelan. You're going to walk your hands down onto the mat as you would for that inchworm exercise. Yeah, let's keep the hands on the mat. So let's walk back a little bit more with the toes. Yeah, perfect. From here, what you're going to do is take one arm across the chest, hold that position and press back, pushing the hips up high and pushing your chest towards your toes. Forward to push up position again. Good. And switch arms. Good. Push back and forward. Good. Okay, so you can alternate here. If you are feeling strong in this movement, you want to challenge it a little bit more, you can place one arm across the chest and keep it across the chest for a number of repetitions. So I'm going to get Keelan to demonstrate that now. So taking the arm across the chest and just 2 reps here. Push back. Shift forward, trying to get the hips up nice and high and stretch through the back of the legs and press through the chest to get that stretch through the stabilizing arm as well. And forward. Good. And let's do the same on the opposite side. Press. Good. Back down to that nice strong push-up position. So drop your hips lower. Good. And push. Good. And hands down onto your knees. Good. So you can see they're a little bit more challenging for Keelan on his left arm. So I'm guessing the right arm is your dominant arm. So take your time with that one. Again, 3 to 5 repetitions there. Do as many as you can. Do an alternating movement. If you're feeling strong, place the arm across the chest and do a repetitive movement on one side. Like I said, finding it too difficult, take it back to the toe touch inchworm exercise. Final exercise here for this unit is going to be the squat to lunge exercise. So this is a little bit of a challenge here. So challenge yourself in this exercise at the end of the stability mobility unit each time to control the movement a little bit more. So basically what you're going to do here is try and maintain the same upper body position as you transition from a squat to a lunge exercise. So dropping down into a squat position, so your feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly turned out, sinking down into that position, your hands wherever you're comfortable. And what you're going to do is transition into a backward lunge position, stepping back without shifting the upper body. So trying to keep the hips where they are. Back to the squat position and do the same on the opposite side. So it's transitioning your weight onto the opposite leg and forward and just maintaining that squat to lunge upper body position. Good. So again, about 3 to 5 repetitions here. So Keelan, I'm going to get you to try that out. It is quite a challenging one. If you find you're coming up out of the movement, try your best to keep that torso and the hips down. So you can see there, Keelan's having to come up out of the movement and sink back down again. That's absolutely fine. Get used to the exercise and try keep a lower position as you go along, as you strengthen. Good. Okay, let's try the opposite leg. So you can do it alternating. You can do 3 to 5 on each leg, whichever way you'd like to do it. Good. Take your time. Keep it nice and slow. Get the movement right. Perfect. And come to a standing position. Good. Okay, so nice little challenge there to finish up the mobility stability unit. Just take your time with it. You can see there Keelan is kind of coming up out of the squat to transition into that lunge. That's absolutely fine. As he strengthens on that, you'll see that he's able to transition from squat to lunge without coming up out of that movement. So that's it for our stability mobility unit. We're going to take it on to our strength and power unit next. Okay, this is the strength and power unit of today's session. We're going to introduce the first set here, and then you're going to complete a second and possibly a third set in your own time. So each exercise is a progression from exercises we would have learned previously. So I'm going to take you through each exercise here. Just take your time with it. If you feel like it's a bit of a struggle, take it back to the previous versions of this exercise, and I'll let you know what they are as we go along. So the first exercise is going to be a hip thrust exercise. So Keelan's going to get into position here on this box. Now, if you don't have something like this at home, you can use a low chair, low table, anything where you can get your upper back elevated off the ground. And this exercise here is a progression on from the hip bridge exercise, where we can now engage the glutes a little bit more. So a little bit more pressure on the glutes here. Good. Okay, so Keelan's lifting up here into a bridge position, but in that elevated position, you'll now notice we've got a straight line from shoulders, knees, and hips horizontally, whereas in that lower mat variation of the exercise, we had that diagonal position. So still applying the same principles here, squeezing through the glutes, straight line from knees through to the shoulders, and not hyperextending through the back. So the power of the movement's going to come from the glutes. So engage the glutes, engage the core, and drive your hips off the ground, and putting pressure through the heel again. So keeping that pressure through the heel here as you're lifting up and down. You don't want to use a surface that's too high here, or else you'll lose that nice 90-degree angle that Keelan's got here. So 10 repetitions, each time engaging the glutes to lift up and allowing the glutes to switch off as you drop down. Remembering those glutes and the muscles of the backside. Good control of the movement. Again, you're struggling with it, take it back to the hip bridge variation on the mat. Perfect. Good. Okay, 10 reps on that. And we're going to move it on to the lateral squat walk exercise. So you're transitioning on here to the next exercise immediately. We'll get the break at the end of the set. Okay, so the lateral squat walk exercise, Henry, I'll get you here. I'll get you actually over to this side here because we're going to be moving. So this one requires a little bit of space. If you don't have a huge amount of space here, you can just repeat the movement back again. But what we're going to do is we're going to do 10 steps to the right and 10 steps back to the left. So Henry's going to drop into a squat position here. And you're going to take a step to the side and follow with the opposite foot. And we're going to repeat that 10 times. Good. So you can see there, Henry started off with a narrow step and it slowly became a little bit wider. Not too wide. You don't want too much of a shift of the upper body. So upper body staying strong on this. And coming to a standing position. Perfect. Okay, so that exercise there, you're just trying to challenge the body to keep control of the movement while you continue that step to the right for 10 and to the left for 10. If you want to challenge that movement a little bit more, you can take the arms out in front or arms back behind the head, even more challenging. So it's up to you what arm position you use there. Just take your time with it. As you get stronger with this, slow it down a little bit more. You want to challenge the muscles by keeping them engaged for a little bit longer. Okay, the next exercise is going to be upper body focused, and it's going to be a pushing exercise. So this exercise is a tricep dip exercise, but we're going to perform it on the mat. We will later progress it onto a tricep dip exercise raised off the ground, which you're probably more familiar with. But for now, we want to ease into it and get the muscles activated in a mat variation. So Henry, I'm going to get you down onto the mat here. Did I call you Henry? Keelan, sorry. Okay. All right, so Keelan, I'm going to get you to elevate the upper body and bring the hands back behind you. Yeah, perfect. Good. Okay, so the leg position for this is going to depend on how strong you are through this movement. So we're going to start off in this box position that Henry's showing you here. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift the hips up off the ground, put the pressure onto the feet and hands, hold the hips up in that position. And now you're going to bend through the elbows, allowing the backside to come down and touch off the mat and press up again. So this is all from the elbows, flexing the elbows, extending the elbows and pushing back up again. Good. Okay, so Keelan is looking good at this. I'm going to straighten the legs out a little bit more. So he's going to go to full extension here. This becomes a lot more challenging. So you're going to gauge your foot position on this. If you're feeling a bit stronger, you take the legs out, straighten the legs. If you're feeling a little bit weaker on this, bend the knees, bring the legs back in towards you. Your eyes are just looking up here at about a 45-degree angle. You're not letting the chin tuck in or head hang back. You're pushing through the ground to extend through the elbows and controlling on the way back down. Don't let yourself plonk back down onto the mat. 10 repetitions again. Nice control. Good. And we'll move on to the next exercise. The next exercise is focused to the lower body again. So you'll notice a lot of lower body work compared to the core and upper body. And that is because the movements in GAA are very focused to the lower body. So we want to make sure we're conditioning that lower body as much as possible. So we're going to move to a step-up exercise. So Keelan, I'll get you over to this side here for me. And we're going to perform the step-up exercise on one leg. So full set on the right leg, full set on the left leg. So Keelan, I'll get you to take one foot up onto the box. Good, and you're pulling up onto the box. And if you want to here, you can touch the box with the back leg, that opposite leg, or you can bring it fully onto the box and rest if you want. But the pressure is staying on that right leg, and I want you to control the movement with that right leg. So you're pulling up with the right leg and then control the movement on the way back down. So you can see there, Keelan lost control on the way down and now he has control. Good. So pulling up and controlling the movement back down again. And just watch that opposite leg, the left leg, isn't pushing you up. So it will aid slightly, but you want the work coming from that right leg, engaging to pull up, controlling the movement back down. And once you have 10 reps complete, You're going to switch it over and complete 10 reps on the opposite leg. Good. Nice control. Try not to let momentum come into the movement. So you're engaging through the glute and pulling up. Perfect. Okay, let's switch that over. Your full foot planted on the box and make sure your heel isn't off the box. So again, if you don't have a box at home, just any elevated surface that you can find, sturdy surface, make sure it is sturdy. Nothing too high. If it's too high, you'll end up with a greater than 90-degree angle at the leg, and then it's very difficult to get up from that position, and you'll end up using momentum to get up. So use a surface, an elevated surface that brings your leg to about a 90-degree angle or a little bit less. So you can see here that Keelan probably could do with a higher surface, but this lower surface is absolutely fine. We don't want to go too high. Engaging through that lifting leg, controlling through the lifting leg on the way back. 10 repetitions on each leg. The final exercise for this unit is going to be focused on the core. And again, we're going to challenge the core like we did in the previous session by taking your body from a 4-point position to a 3-point position. And we're going to do that with a leg raise. So, Keelan, I'm going to get you into plank position. Now we're going to take this movement nice and slow. Take your time with it to challenge the core. So Keelan's going to raise one leg off the ground. Good. Slowly return it and do the same on the opposite side. And you're going to do 10 repetitions here in total. As you do this, you're going to try not to let the hips raise off the ground. So Keelan, keep the hips down nice and low. And as you raise the leg, don't let the hips raise with you. Good. The slower you go with this, the longer you're holding that plank position, so the more challenging it's going to be. So take your time with that lift. A nice way to engage the glutes and get that workout through the glute as well. Good. Okay, again, if you're finding that a little bit difficult, take it back to your normal plank exercise and just work on building up strength in that plank exercise without the movement. So that is it for our strength and power unit today. We're now going to take it on to the cool down stretch. We're now going to take it onto a cool down stretch just to finish off the workout. Okay, so for the cool down stretch, you're going to hold each stretch for about 30 to 45 seconds. And you're going to flow through a routine here from standing position down onto the floor and then back up onto the feet. Okay, so Henry, we're going to just start off with a stretch for the posterior chain, so along the calves, hamstrings, glutes, into your back, and we're going to stretch through the chest as well. So I'm going to get you to take your hands behind your back, interlock your fingers, and then you're going to pull your arms back to stretch through your chest. From that position, feet pointing forward, just about shoulder width apart, you're going to hinge forward at the hips and try bring your arms up as high as you can to the ceiling. So you're pulling your hands up to the ceiling and trying to keep your legs nice and straight on this. Good. So we're going to hold here for 30 seconds on each stretch. Really pulling those arms up. And really exaggerate that pull of the chest. And as you hold this movement, try exaggerate that pull. Pulling back through the shoulders, pulling the hands towards the ceiling. Good. So just holding for another 5 seconds, really exaggerating that stretch and just using a nice slow controlled breathing pattern here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, keeping that position, Henry, bring your hands down onto the mat. Good. You're going to walk forward. You're going to drop onto one knee. And you're going to bring the opposite foot forward. And we're going to take a hip flexor stretch here. Good. So you're going to lean forward. And what you're looking for here is a nice stretch on the front of the hip. If you're not feeling that stretch, you can just walk your front foot forward a little bit more. If you're too far back, you're not going to get that stretch. So your knee here in front doesn't want to come over the toes. You're going to walk it forward and hold that stretch. Again, holding each stretch for about 30 seconds. If you can hold it for a little bit longer, you can go up to 45 seconds. Okay, let's keep that position, and we're going to take it now to the hamstring on the opposite side. So you're going to sit back, you're going to allow the toes come up towards you, and you're going to reach forward towards the foot. Okay, so as you're performing this stretch, you want to reach your hands towards the foot, but don't force the stretch and don't force any of these stretches. So just stretching to the point of tension and never pain on these movements. So you're just reaching towards that foot. If you can't reach the foot or the ankle, don't worry about it. Don't force the movement. So again, holding for about 30 seconds here, just helping these muscles to stretch out and kickstart that recovery. Good. Okay, Henry, you're going to switch legs. Opposite leg forward. You're going to push forward for that hip flexor stretch. If you're not feeling that, again, walk that front foot forward a little bit more. And just gently sitting forward. And let your torso come forward with you. You don't want to pull back on this movement. So just keep that spine neutral and hinge forward. Just trying to find that stretch on the front of that back leg. Again, using your breath, deep breaths into the nose, out through the mouth, remembering that that breath can help mobilize the joints and muscles. And sitting back for your hamstring stretch on this side. Again, reaching towards the foot, but not forcing the movement. If you can't reach the foot or ankle, just reach down along the leg as far as you can. If you find that the muscle is releasing out and you can reach a little bit further, take it that little bit further. And on each exhale, imagine that muscle relaxing. And relax. Perfect. Okay, let's face this direction for the next one, Henry. We're going to take it now to the inner thigh. Take your hands down in front. You're going to bring your left leg out to the side. Toes pointing forward. And you're going to press back, and you should feel this stretch along the inside of the left leg. If you're struggling to find that stretch, you're just going to walk the supporting knee out a little bit wider and gently press back into it. You can rotate through the torso and sink down into it if you want to find a little bit of a deeper stretch. Feeling that, Henry? Again, about 30 to 45 seconds. And you can switch legs. Good. Okay, straight leg on the stretching leg. Sit back into it. Try find that stretch along the inside of the leg. Again, if you're struggling to find that stretch, you can walk the supporting knee out a little bit more, or you can rotate your torso towards the supporting knee. Again, using your breath, relax the muscles on the exhale. Good. Okay, Henry, I'll get you to bring your hands to the front of the mat again. From here, you're going to lift onto your toes. Nice straight leg position. Walk back to a standing position. Trying to keep the legs as straight as possible. And we're just going to finish off. You can stay facing that direction, Henry. We're going to finish off with a quad stretch. So you're going to keep your supporting leg nice and soft on this. I want you to reach back, grab a hold of your foot behind, and pull your heel towards your back side. Now, as you're doing this, the supporting knee staying soft to stabilize. And pulling your heel nice and close to the back side. If your knee is out here in front, you're not going to feel that stretch. So pull it back in line with the opposite leg or back beyond it if you can. Also trying not to let that knee flare out to the side. So keep it centered, keep it pulled back, and hold that stretch on the quad. Again, 30 to 45 seconds, and switch it over. Soft supporting leg. Keep that balance. If you are struggling to balance here, you can just hold on to something and get that stretch. So again, knee centered, pull it back. Try not to let it come out in front. Try not to let it come out to the side. Pull it back, stay centered, and feel that stretch on the front here on the quad. Again, using your breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And relax. Good. Okay, and that's it for our session today. Thank you very much for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you in the next session.